Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Z James. This is Z32 Workshop, and these two cars beside me is my 1992 Dodge Stealth RT, which is just really a 3000 GT, and beside it is my Nissan 300ZX convertible 93 that I autocross and weekend drive. This video, we're going to be continuing the saga of getting the Stealth to run. Last video, I pretty much diagnosed it down to the ECU being a problem. I got the car to run, not well. I think the tach's messed up, the more I think about it. I think that's got an issue with a capacitor, resistor, or something's messed up in it because it wants to read like 2,000 or 3,000 RPM when it's kind of idling. Now that I kind of know what's going on. But I showed you, hopefully in the last video, that the ECU I pulled out had corrosion on it. Let's go over here to the bench and take a look at it. This is my new ECU. This is my old ECU. If you look at the old ECU here, oh, hang on so I can get this light to play nice with you guys. Hopefully you can see that on C6 right there, that capacitor, this big capacitor right here, blue. You can really see it. I don't know if you guys can see it if I throw a magnifier in there to see what's going on. But you can see right down there. Hang on so we can get a good angle of that light. So this ECU needs to get repaired. I've looked around now through the normal channels. 3SX, they do offer repairs, which this would be, I want to say $400 to $500, which is quite a bit. I could get a new ECU, which they have in stock, but you run the same problem with these four electrolytic capacitors being bad that you'd have to take care of. So the other problem you've got going on is you'd have to replace them. I could go to aftermarket ECU, that's $1,000. I chose to go to this ECU over here, which is a guy on Facebook, Corey, I think if I'm saying his name right. He does repairs. He does a great job. I got this for a very reasonable price, less than half a repair from 3SX to do it. Now his stuff, he replaced this capacitor, and if you look down here, you can see that there's a bunch of other stuff. It looks like this capacitor got blown out and ate a whole bunch of this stuff. I won't take it out of the board, but you can see that he replaced two of them for sure, and replaced the board down in that neck of the woods. So we're gonna go put it in the car. So hang on a second. So this board's been replaced. Like I said, I went to the internet, I went to Facebook groups, asked about like, hey, showed them this bad board. I need this. A couple of the guys pointed out I needed to know the serial numbers on it, which like here's my old board. That's the numbers that are on it. Basically, the ones you're concerned with is the 2T35676. That's what you need to do, because there are differences between the VR4 or the twin turbo models compared to the naturally aspirated stuff. Like I said, this board's been repaired. You can see that he went in here. It looks like he did so because this electrolytic capacitor blew out. And there's evidence on the bottom side of these two caps being replaced. I didn't see evidence of these two being replaced, but they look fine. So roll the dice there. But it does work. I already have tested it in the car, but I wanted to get here to show you guys. And this model number is exactly the same. It is, but it's got a T at the end. So I'm assuming they did a revision at some point, because if you look at the connectors, you get my old one is 6A. This is a 6D. So I'm assuming they did some type of revision to the board or something. I'm not 100% sure what they did there. I will try cleaning this up in another video. I might try to see if I could save it myself. That's kind of something I want to try doing because of this capacitor down here. I want to try saving it. Or I could sell it. The other guy who does repair this actually wanted this board so he could have cores to repair. You know what I'm saying? So there are definitely guys out there to do this work. And I'm thinking, knowing what these are, as long as if these capacitors have blown, but the board itself is probably fine, you can get away with maybe saving it yourself. if you don't have any solder skills, because there are plenty of YouTube videos and stuff you can go get to go do this. Yeah, so I'm going to put this back together. I'm going to put this one back together too, just so it's sealed up in a way. I'm going to get this in the car. I did find the correct screws or bolts to hold this in. They're an M6, and I forget the pitch. I'll throw it here if I remember to look it up to get this back in. Because I want to put this in, then plug it in so it's in its home. Because if you remember correctly, this guy was just flopping around behind the dash, which is just going to add to rattles and all sorts of stuff or wiring issues. But I could definitely tell you that when I did this one here, the air control valve and the fuel pump were having problems with. This one, none of those issues. So obviously this is a problem that was the ECU, along with some other wiring. Boy, I hope this isn't a long video of me just chatting, because that's kind of what it feels like. So yeah, this is going to be a quick time warp of me bolting this all back together for both these to get this stuff handled in, and then trying to fit it back into the car underneath behind the dash, and then starting the car up so you guys can hear it run and go. I can tell you right now, there's other issues with the engine that I've got to deal with. Nothing critical, I'm hoping, other than a giant exhaust leak. But you guys will see it here in a little bit. Let me get time warp on this, and we'll get moving. So here we go. Boom, off time warp. Hopefully you guys can see this halfway decently. Nut. Just so you know, I am 900% sure that needs a screw to hold back into there. Like I said, someone's had this harness out before, not sure 100% why. I mean, other than the fact it had issues. So going in, back in, pain. I would do the connectors afterwards, don't do them first, just because it's easier to move around. When you put the connectors in, make sure you hear an audible click on each 3 of the connectors. This also helped me out a little bit in putting this ECU back in, which was, I have the radio out right now because I don't have one, because I don't like the one that came with this car. Let's get it over here. So that helped get the ECU back in so I can help guide it on the other side. I'm gonna get light back in there for you guys. So make sure you got wires out of the way. Every little bit of room helps to get around there. That is not as square as I'd like it, but that's apparently how that sits, so I'm not gonna say anything. What else? Oh, over here you need the screw on the backside. It's a shiny, it's a stainless steel one I put in. So yeah, I'm breathing heavy because that thing's a pain in the keister to move around without any real good way of doing it. Let's get some light on me. Yeah, a little mood lighting for myself here. So yes, it goes in. Let me put the battery back on and we'll start the car back up. That, I did get a spare key made for this car because I only had one key. And that was an endeavor because Ace Hardware that did it for me couldn't get a key. They had 3 blanks. Their machine wouldn't cut 2 of them. They weren't right. So we ended up, the key, my original key, which is an original car, it was already an aftermarket one. They bent it back straight because it was a little bit of a curve to get the key to work. And then the machine made able to cut one. So yeah. So without putting panels back on yet, I am gonna put the battery back on and we'll start the car on up. So here we go, guys. Be another quick time warp? Nah, screw it. I'll just leave you guys up. I'll just edit out me putting the battery back on because that's not really what you guys need to see or want to see. So let's get you up. Oh, let's hang on. I'm gonna be cool about this. Yoga mats are awesome, guys. Get them for your garage, especially cold, wintry stuff. So, here's the car. Here's that. Motor's running. I did an oil change. Do you hear that audible noise? That sounds horrible. I am fairly certain I've gotten this down to at least, hang on, let's see if I can do this, point this out to you right, guys. So, at least that bearing is noisy and everything else. So I've never heard a 6072 run before. I don't think this is right. It being noisy like that. And as you can see, the RPMs are way too high, but obviously it's not that high. So she runs. She's noisy. I'm not sure what that's about. I do know there's some idler pulleys for the 17 belt that need to be replaced that are just noisy. I put stethoscope on them earlier and they just are loud. So the bearings are shot in them. So I'll have to replace that. And as you can hear, the exhaust is pretty noisy too. I did an oil change off camera because it's pretty easy to do. I did top off coolants before I fire up to make sure coolant was up, oil was good, and power steering pump had fluid because this thing leaks in the bottom. I think it probably needs an oil pan gasket or a new oil pan. Not 100% sure yet. But you can see she quieted on up. I don't know if that's the lifters being a problem, but I can hear noise out of the front of the engine over here. I do realize that some of these bearings are shot. Alternator sounded fine. That idler pulley sounded pretty noisy. That idler pulley sounded very noisy. So I'm going to replace those too. So that should do it for this video, guys. It's me putting in a new ECU, talking about what the fixes were done on it and what you can do on it. I'm actually going to let this warm up because I'd like to have the exhaust or everything just get hot. It's a lot cooler that way. As you can see, up and running. Still working on wheels. I have a set coming. I got a buddy of mine who's a race friend who's got a second set. So it should be awesome to go to get this thing up and rolling. I may have to find a different screw to hold some of the wiring back to get it back in position because someone took it out and didn't put it back. Just like this ECU, I'm going to attempt to repair probably over the winter just to see what's going on with it and see how it flies. Because I can unplug the other one, plug this in, and see if it works if I repair it. And then I've got a second ECU for myself to either put on the shelf or sell. Not sure which way I want to go with it. Yeah. So, if you guys have any comments or questions, hit me up below. Every little bit helps here. Trying to march my way to get demonetized. And I make all sorts of different content. So if you hit that like and subscribe, it's awesome. And watch any other videos between the 300ZX, the Dodge Stealth, PT Cruiser, Dodge Durango, Dodge Dakota. That's kind of what I do right now. As I like to say, fleet manager for my family to do stuff, because honestly, to take any one of these 90s vehicles to an auto shop would just blow the budget what you paid for them. You know, I'll be honest, in the end of this video, my 300ZX I bought 7 years ago for 1,800 bucks, I want to say. I drove it 20 miles, had rod knock. I'll probably do a video here this winter talking about the whole story and drop some photos of me and my buddy and my dad and my brother to go get it when I was stranded up coming out of Minnesota. The Stealth is a whole another story. The gentleman's actually subscribed to the channel, so shout out. He likes seeing the car coming back and getting resurrected and doing stuff. So that's a whole other story. That was another fluke. Basically told my wife, don't dare me, I'll go get it. And look what I brought home. Let's see here, what other 90s? Oh, the Dodge Dakota. That was the same, another way. Needed a truck for my kid, who honestly doesn't like driving. I enjoy the crap out of it. It's amazing. But you know, get him to learn stick, or get them to learn stick, I should say. Another great story, picking up a PT Cruiser that had a bad ECU. I've got all sorts of stories I may shout out and say sometime, just to tell you how I got these things and where I ended up with it. I mean, heck, even my Durango, which I have actually had a shop work on. I'm not happy about that. When time crunch comes something and you need it, you just got to take it in and get it done. I didn't have the time to deal with a front steering rack leaking everywhere. But I did do the water pump, because I'm like, that's kind of easy. So yeah, that should do it for this video. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next one. Comments, questions, hit me up below. Take care. Bye.